Some people need glasses, others need to take them off when they have to read. Dobro jutro. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your kind introduction. In addition to serving as the United States Ambassador to beautiful Croatia, I'm also a proud mother of 2 boys, Julian and Alexander. And I'd like to begin my remarks by speaking to you from that perspective, from being a mother. While I've had the privilege of traveling around the world and holding various positions, being a mother is, and always will be, my most important and valued role. My children, just like all of you here, are everything to me. And they go with me wherever I go, even when they're not physically present with me. I think of them during long flights, after challenging days, or when I'm speaking to a room full of people I'm meeting for the first time. They're a source of comfort to me, like a beautiful, familiar melody that I can turn to when life becomes overwhelming or challenging. Of course, these memories are just that, a temporary comfort. When I'm home, I get to hug my children, listen to their stories, and even help them with their homework, which really I'm not the best at. Tarek, my husband, does a better job with that. Over the course of my career, I've spoken with far too many people whom memories and images are all that they have left of their children, that they love so much. Children whose lives were violently taken from them. It's a pain I cannot begin to comprehend. I know that some of you in this room have experienced that very loss, and I'm sure that will always be deeply, deeply hurtful and a deep wound, and I mourn with you your loss. Your presence here, despite that pain, is humbling. Your resilience and your strength inspires me to work harder. And work harder we all must, because the task of protecting our children is more challenging than ever. The rise of the internet has added complexities to that mission. The sheer volume of information available online is staggering and continues to grow day by day. This presents a unique challenge in investigating online exploitation and the sheer quantity of data that makes it difficult to sift through to identify the most urgent threats. And in these cases, more than most, time is critical. Time is ticking. Furthermore, those who exploit children have access to sophisticated tools, such as the dark web and cryptocurrencies, to conceal their actions and their identity. I know this is not news to any of you here in this room. You're well aware of the challenges we face, which is why I'm so encouraged to see a room full of people here to discuss solutions. And where do those solutions lie? Where do they lie? I believe one of the key solutions is information sharing. This can take many, many forms. Sometimes it's sharing successful strategies that can be replicated across borders. For example, case in point, the Amber Alert system that I'm sure we all agree has saved lives throughout, which originated in my home country of the United States, has since been adopted by many, many countries around the world. But we also need to consider information sharing in the context of internet crimes, where sharing key data can lead to the rescue of a child in danger or the apprehension of an online predator. However, the global nature of the internet, the vast cross-border network to networks presents significant obstacles. The legal framework is still catching up with this evolving landscape, which is quickly evolving, making collaboration between private and public sectors more challenging. Despite these complexities, we know that the internet at its core is simply a communication network. Every action online leaves a trail, virtual breadcrumbs. And we've seen time and time again how these trails can lead to the downfall of wrongdoers. Often, these breadcrumbs pass through private sector companies that form the backbone of the internet. While we have some mechanisms in place to facilitate the sharing of information between the private sector and law enforcement, there is much more work to be done to strengthen those connections. Given the gravity of online child exploitation, I'm pleased to say that despite the imperfections, international information sharing tends to function more effectively and quicker while dealing with children at risk. These cases are indeed unique, and many understand the urgency they demand. Moreover, better tools are on the horizon. That's good news, such as a second additional protocol to the Budapest Convention, which will streamline the process for requesting electronic evidence. NGOs, and I know there's a lot of NGOs here in this room, are another crucial player in the information sharing ecosystem. Organizations like National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, are globally recognized, and I'm thrilled that John Shahan is here today joining us. Thank you very much for being here from Washington. But this is just one example of many organizations doing incredible work, including Croatia's own Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Thank you for your work in this. I mentioned earlier the challenges created by the vast amount of information on the internet, but we can also use that for our advantages. The internet, after all, has a long memory, longer than all of us in this room combined. A username from years ago or a forgotten web chat can provide the clues, the important clues to break open a case. As we've seen in so many cases, it only takes one mistake to bring a wrongdoer to justice. Take, for example, the infamous "Welcome to" video. This case frustrated investigators for so long. For those unfamiliar, Welcome to Video was a dark web marketplace dealing in horrific images of exploited children. Investigators struggled to locate the servers hosting this site due to sophisticated methods employed to hide its activity. But in a masterstroke of brilliance, one investigator examined the code behind the site and uncovered a vital clue: the single IP address associated with many of the uploads. The same address, repeated over and over, turned out to be the key to identifying the culprit. Despite using dark web tools to evade detection, the criminal had made a simple mistake. Impatience led him to use a regular browser, which ultimately exposed his activities. As this case shows, even the most sophisticated wrongdoers are not immune to errors. And while the volume of information online presents challenges, it also preserves the very mistakes that can lead to the downfalls of the wrongdoers. We must continue to find better ways to underscore and share this critical piece of evidence. I began my remarks by speaking about the joy of my children, all the joy that they bring to my life. And before I conclude, I ask you to take a moment to think about your own children or the children in your life. whether they are with us today or cherished memory. None of them deserve to suffer. None should ever be in danger. We have the power to make the internet a safer place for all of us, especially our most vulnerable, our children. And together we can make that vision a reality. Thank you again for having me here today, and I wish you a successful and impactful conference.